everyone. I'm Manav Midha. I'm a member of the leadership team at Siblings with a Mission, and I wanted to introduce you today to a really inspirational person who's involved with Siblings with a Mission and Cincinnati Children's. Her name is Yasmeen, and she's going to be sharing some of her experiences with her sibling with you all today.
We are excited to share this video in advance of our 6th annual Sibling Symposium in partnership with Cincinnati Children's Hospital this Saturday, July 23rd. We hope that this video inspires many more conversations to come. Thank you. Hi Yasmeen, thank you for joining us today. Can you please tell us a little bit about you and your siblings?
Yes, so I'm Yasmeen. I'm the oldest sibling in my family, and I have 2 younger sisters. The youngest one is 7 years old, and the middle child is 10 years old. Her name is Soraya, and she has an undiagnosed disease. And then the youngest sibling is neurotypical. And that has meant a lot of things for my family. So from a young age, we knew something was off, and we were told she wasn't going to live past 2 years old. And we went to all kinds of doctors, and we're still seeing many doctors after we moved from Virginia, where we used to live. And nothing has really helped to make her cured. And that's probably one of the hardest things about having a sibling with special needs is the unknown, specifically with a sibling with an undiagnosed disease, because it makes the unknown even more obscure. And I find it really, really hard sometimes to connect with other people who have similar experiences to me, because having a sibling that's undiagnosed is there's no other diagnosed like it, which is why it's undiagnosed. But having a sibling support group like this is exactly what I needed, because there are so many different people here with so many different siblings, and I can find so many people to connect with, and I have never felt more connected to other people like me.
So what do you and your sibling like to do together?
Well, a lot of times when I was younger, we would play outdoor games like chase, tag, hide and go seek, things that had to do up and moving. But as she's gotten older, she's becoming weaker and weaker. She's a progressive disease. So while we used to do the stuff that most siblings would do, nowadays we play most times things where you can sit down. So we play Legos. Sometimes she asks me to play with dolls with her. It's one of her favorite things, so I love doing that with her because it just brings her so much joy. And we also love playing Nintendo games, because we have a giant projector in our basement, so we can play sports games for a while, or Mario Kart, and something interactive while also not putting too much effort on her. And that's another hard thing to do when you have a sibling who is progressive. You never know what they're going to be able to do tomorrow. You're never going to know how that's going to be different from a year ago. But there are going to always be ways that I'm going to try to have fun with my sister, because I only have one of her. I mean, yes, I have another sibling, but there's only one Soraya.
So Yasmeen, having a sibling with a disability can come with a lot of unique challenges as well, and a lot of important roles. Could you kind of describe what some of the roles are that you have for your sister, and what ways that you help her?
So my parents have made sure that I never feel like I have to take care of her per se, but I do care for her in other ways. I try my best to be as kind as I can to her, because I don't know how much time she has left. So every moment I spend with her is a moment that I can't get back. And so when I talk to her, I try to ignore whenever she's being impulsive. She has impulsivity and says things that she doesn't mean. And I try not to get too angry or upset with her. And that is a challenge sometimes, because siblings fight a lot. And not being able to properly, or not properly, but not being able to fully express how I feel with her all the time, because I know that my words matter a lot to her. And so I really try my best to not hurt her feelings. and that's probably my biggest responsibility, is just being kind. And that's not as big as you would think, but it has a really, really large impact on her because she looks up to me. Siblings rely on each other, and so having someone look up to me like she looks up to me it's a huge honor, and some days it's a burden because whenever I do hurt her feelings, I feel awful about it. And so I do my best to try to be as neutral, if not positive, with her as I can.
Yasmeen, have there been any negative experiences you've had having a sibling with a disability?
Yes. A lot of times when there is a sibling with a older or younger sibling with disabilities, it is seen as a small inconvenience sometimes. Like, oh, they have this disease, that's not that bad. But that is takes a huge toll on the siblings and on the family because that's not what they were expecting. That's not what they were promised. And that can sometimes be hard to grieve the loss of what you could have had and grieve the loss of what could have been. What could have been in the future. And as a sibling with someone who is slowly, progressively getting worse, it becomes so much harder because you don't want to grieve them while they're still here, but you have to because it's right there in front of your face. And I want everyone to remember that your pain is your pain. Don't compare it to anyone else's, because if you are struggling because of your sibling or something in your life, then you have every right to say, I'm struggling, I need some help. And that's one of the things that should not be overlooked in having a sibling with a disability, is the struggle for the sibling. Because it's not something minor, it's something that will shake your entire world. And so just remember, you're not alone, and just remember that it's okay to be not okay.
What are some things you've learned from your sister?
There are a numerous amount of things she has taught me. One of the things is patience, because without her, I wouldn't be nearly as patient or as compassionate or as empathetic that I am, because having a sibling with a disability gives you so much pressure some days, because you feel like you have to do everything for your sibling. You feel like you have to put yourself aside, but that is not the case. You have to put yourself first too, and that's what she has taught me, because every time I try to just put her first and I leave myself behind, it just causes a problem for everybody. And she'll even tell me that. She'll be like, I love you so much, I want you to take care of yourself as well. And another thing she's taught me is courage, bravery, and strength. She is by far one of the bravest people I know. And we'll tell her, hey, you've got a blood draw today, or hey, you have a sleep study next week, and she goes, oh, okay. And then we do a lot of positive reinforcement in my house. We'll be like, okay, well then do I get to pick out a surprise once I'm done? And it's amazing because like a lot of people would be like, I'm so scared, it's a sleep study, it's a blood draw, it's an MRI, and she's just so brave about it. And whenever she goes to school, people will make fun of her, and I get upset about it, but she will brush it off, and then she'll make like a slideshow that explains her needs, and I'm like, this is amazing. And that's probably one of the most important things she's taught me, but the most important thing is she's taught me that time is one thing you can never get back. Because she's told me to stop wallowing myself in the past. And yes, we do hold on to certain things that have happened before because they make sense now, but there are some things that I just need to let go of, because all me holding in that regret and all that, pain. I mean, some pain I can't let go because it's gonna always be surrounding me, but there is some pain that I can let go and try to move forward and try to suck the joy out of every moment with her. And that's our family motto, suck the joy out of life. And she's really taught me to do that. I mean, we had like a spontaneous trip to Hawaii for Make-A-Wish, and I have not had that much fun in a very long time. So yeah, those are probably the most important things she's taught me. And also, she's taught me the importance of a good hug.
So in your perspective, why is sibling support important?
Oh, that's a good one. So sibling support is vital for any sibling who has a brother or a sister with special needs. Because just because one sibling in the family has special needs, that doesn't mean it doesn't affect the rest of the family. Because every time they have an appointment, a surgery, new medical equipment, or time spent in the day trying to help take care of them, it has an impact on every single person in that family. So sibling support is super important because siblings need just as much support as those with special needs, because they're watching their siblings struggle, and they're there for them. They're there to, they're always there for them, and that deserves recognition. And even if you need help as a sibling, then support is necessary for every sibling, even if you don't need it, because you do. Even if you don't want it, you do need it. And that's what I love about Siblings with a Mission, is that it's this huge event once a year, the Sibling Symposium, where people from all over can come together and share one thing, that they have someone that they love with a disability. And a lot of times it's siblings that have a sibling with a disability. And just because someone else is struggling in your family doesn't mean that you are not struggling too. Because for the longest time I felt I couldn't struggle because my sister was struggling more than I was. And then that's when I realized, wow, I need some support on this, because there has to be more people like me. It can't be just me. And you are not alone in this. There are so many people who had the same experience as you, and also, not only that, but are there to support you. And that's why sibling support is so important, because siblings need just as much love and care and, praise as somebody that has a disability.
Thank you for sharing your story, Yasmeen. So to conclude the video, we just wanted to ask you, what do you want others to know about?
I want others to know, as I said earlier, that you are not alone, and that it's okay to feel your feelings. And it's actually a bad idea to try to lock them away and be like, I'm okay, people are struggling more than me, I don't need to feel. Because having a sibling, or having a child, or knowing someone that's really close to you that has a disability, it's hard. It's hard. And even if your sibling has like an undiagnosed disease, or a rare one like my sister does, that doesn't mean that you're necessarily alone. Yes, no one will be able to have the exact same experience as you, but the pain, on the other hand, is something that everyone shares. So the biggest takeaway I want everyone to get from this video is, you are not alone. It's okay to be not okay. And most of all, take care of yourself just as much as you would take care of your sibling, because you matter just as much.